Namaste and welcome to this episode of the Thursday Thoughts. Today is 13th of April and today is Baisakhi. The Sikh brothers and sisters of ours, they celebrate today as their New Year's Day. Baisakhi is their New Year's Day. And I'm told this year they are going to celebrate it tomorrow, that is on the 14th of April. And 14th of April also happens to be the New Year for the Tamil speaking people, the Tamilians. And also it is Rongali Bihu, the New Year function of the Assamese, the Northeast Assamese people. So all my brothers and sisters, Happy New Year to you all. Yeah, since yesterday, I'm not in a mood of celebration or jubilation. Somehow, what had happened 104 years ago, that is on 13th of April 1919, at Amritsar, Jallianwalabagh, that is haunting me. Yes, it needs to be told and retold to our generations and our children and grandchildren so that they understand what it takes to be free in a country, what it takes to get freedom of a country. Yes, let's just look back on that darkest hour of our history during the British rule. It was a Sunday, that is the 13th of April 1919. The situation was already tense in and around Punjab. In fact, in and around India, the whole of India was already tense because they had promulgated, the Britishers' rule had promulgated the Rowlatt Act. And you know what it was? Rowlatt Act gave the powers to the Britishers to arrest any Indian without any trial. How draconian the act was. And naturally, the freedom fighters and the political leaders at that time, they thought, this cannot be accepted. This is a draconian law. We will not accept it. Let us protest it. So as a protest against the Rowlatt Act, when there was a protest in Amritsar by the two of its most famous sons, namely Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal, they were arrested. They were arrested on 10th of April 1919, and it was done in the most secretive way so that not many people will come to know, and they were taken away to a secret destination that was in the nearby state of Himachal Pradesh to Dharmshala. But news spreads, and such news did spread. And on 13th of April, also the news came of Mahatma Gandhi also being arrested, protesting against the Rowlatt Act. So there was utter chaos, and the local leadership in Amritsar, they decided to meet peacefully, absolutely peacefully, at the place known as Jallianwalabagh. It is a very small place, and they had called for a meeting of peaceful peace lovers and a silent demonstration against this particular Rowlatt Act. So they decided to meet at Jallianwalabagh in the evening at around 5:30 p.m. And there was the General Dyer, yes, the police officer under the British rule. He was so vehement and so arrogant, so cruel that even before he wanted to gauge how many people have gathered at this venue, and he ordered or he arranged an aircraft to be flown above the arena to gauge how many people are gathering. And he was told it is around 6,000, though later on, as per the Hunter Commission, the figures went up to 10 to 20,000 people who had gathered there to just show their solidarity among themselves and protest, silent protest, peaceful protest against this particular draconian, barbaric rule of Rowlatt Act. But what happened, all of us know. This General Dyer with 50 policemen all armed with .303 rifles. They were fully loaded and they entered the arena. As we all know, this Jallianwalabagh had walls in three directions and only a narrow entrance. And through that entrance, General Dyer with his 50 policemen, armed policemen, enters the arena, and without any provocation, without any warning, it is told, though in Amritsar earlier in the daytime or in the morning, they had announced that it is not permitted for more than four people to meet at a place. That was not paid any heed to, that was not heard by the people there, and they thought they are going to do a very peaceful demonstration against this Rowlatt Act. So they had gathered, and as you all know, these people had gathered in numbers, devout ladies and innocent children. They were there to celebrate their new year and show solidarity among their party leaders, that they were against the arresting of Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu. To know about these two people, their brief biography reads like this. Dr. Satyapal was born in Punjab in the year 1885 on 11th of May, and he studied his graduation in Cambridge, where he was a friend of Jawaharlal Nehru, yes, and he completed his doctor's MBBS as we know as today, and he was offered a commission by the King's letter telling him to join the World War I, that is the First World War, as in Indian medical services to serve the army men or the services personnel in the war who are deployed in the war. And he got that commission, King's Commission, on 17th of September 1915. For unspecified reasons, he relinquished his commission on 16th of September 1916, that is exactly after 1 year, and he came back to India. He joined the Satyagraha movement called upon by none other than Mahatma Gandhi, whom he had a lot of regards to. And talking about Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu, he was in fact a Kashmiri Brahmin. His ancestors were Kashmiri Brahmins, but maybe 2 generations up they had converted to Muslim, but that secular feeling was very much there in his mind, and he came to Amritsar. In fact, his forefathers shifted to Amritsar the height of the famine, Kashmir famine, in 1871, and he was born in Amritsar on 15th of January 1888, and he studied his BA in Cambridge, and he got his PhD in law from Germany, and he shifted to India to start practicing. And immediately after that, he also plunged into the national movement, the freedom movement that was afire all around the country. And both the doctors, one doctor by profession, Dr. Satyapal, and the other doctor in education who did his PhD in law, both of them were hugely popular. And the fact that thousands of people, including devout women and innocent children, had gathered to show their solidarity with these two arrested leaders, along with that of Mahatma Gandhi's arrest. So it shows their popularity. In fact, probably they themselves didn't know that they were so popular because of their upright acts. And the moment this gathering was full and they wanted to start the silent protest, General Dyer orders fire, and the crowd of tens of thousands were attacked brutally by these policemen, fully loaded with their rifles, and till they emptied their barrels, till they emptied their rifles for 8 to 10 minutes continuously. The policemen started firing, and chaos, absolute chaos was broken out, and people didn't know which way to go. And there was a well there, a 20 feet diameter well, into which they thought it is a good refuge to take refuge under or inside. They started jumping one after another, and thus creating a stampede, and hundreds of dead bodies were later recovered from this well. And how many people, what was the casualty, only history knows. But you know what? General Dyer later on report to have told that I did not order firing to disperse the crowd. I was punishing the people because they had disobeyed, for their disobedience. Such was the arrogance and cruelty, the brutality of this particular police officer. And later on, in the Parliament or the House of Commons in London, Dyer was voted 247 against and 37 for. But till date, there is no official apology from the government of Britain. Only in the year 2019, there was a deep regret expression from the British government. That is 2019, that is exactly 100 years after the black, horrible, horrendous massacre of innocent people at Jallianwalabagh. Ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks ago we had talked about Ugadi, the New Year day of Telugus and Kannadigas and Goans, and that was on 22nd of March, and 23rd of March is observed all over India as the Martyrs' Day. Friends, it is not a coincidence that the day of celebration and the day of sacrifice come together. Yes, if we are not doing our duties dutifully, we have absolutely no right to ask for our rights. It is as simple as that. If we don't do our duties properly, we have absolutely no demand to ask for our rights. This is very clear. History is standing testimony to this. Let us do our duties with utmost dedication and devotion. Let us be as patriotic as possible. And patriotism today doesn't mean that we are going to join army, air force or naval forces. We have to do our duties with the most dedicated and devoted minds and hearts and souls. Then only we can sustain the word freedom on our land. Ladies and gentlemen, no meals are free, as the cliche goes. And let's all work hard and play hard and party hard, as it is said. So let us do. This is only a small attempt at rekindling the patriotism in each of the minds and hearts of our younger generation, our children, our grandchildren. Then only they can understand what price our forefathers, our freedom fighters had given to get the freedom that we enjoy today, that we stand on this land today. This land is not just dry, it is wet with the blood of our forefathers. Who says freedom has come to India without any bloodshed? No meal comes without hard work. Let's work hard so that the sweat that we get on our foreheads will be the sweetest sweat ever. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. God bless each one of us to rededicate ourselves for the cause that our fathers, our forefathers had dreams. We making this country, we making this whole world as a peaceful world. Bye-bye. May God bless each one of us.